Stephanie Chung, your go-to for all things marketing, mindset, and manifestation. I grew my online business from 0 to beyond 6 figures in 8 months. My purpose is to empower women to step into the highest, most aligned versions of themselves. If you are ready to take charge of your life, learn how to design a wildly successful business, and leave limiting beliefs behind, you've come to the right place. You will learn the actionable tips and step-by-step strategies on money, manifestation, and social media. It's time to step into your role as boss, to raise your vibration and tap into your unlimited potential today. Welcome to the Social Reset Podcast. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I have a really special student and friend with me, Tayler. And I'm going to have Tayler introduce herself. Tayler has been a part of Magicmind for this round, and I'm so excited to dive into her story and her bravery and all the things that she's jumped into since starting her course, and just honestly, the embodiment and the energetic shifts of who she's becoming as a CEO, as a business owner, has been astronomical. So I'm really excited to dive right into her story. So Tayler, thank you for being on the podcast. It's an absolute honor to have you here. I'd love to have you introduce who you are, a little bit more about your business, and who you serve.
Yes. First of all, thank you so much for having me. Honestly, I was thinking about this prior to this recording. I'm like, oh my gosh, you were on my podcast like years ago when I was kind of just started. And to be here now is just such a full circle moment for me, and even just getting to work with you. And I'll obviously dive into that in a bit. But I'm Tayler. I'm the founder and CEO of Melrose Marketing Studio, which is your one-stop shop for everything you need to be successful on social media. I'm also the host of the Tiny Moments podcast, and I just created my newest signature program, Instagram Growth Academy, where I teach my students how to make sales on Instagram.
Amazing. Yes. You're such a rock star. It's such a joy to work with you and to also just do life with you. It's beautiful. So tell the viewers a little bit more, or tell the audience a little bit more about when you just started thinking about joining Magicmind. I know it wasn't even something that you had necessarily planned on, and you felt pulled to it, which is so fun. Tell us more about where you were in your business and why you decided to jump in.
Yeah, this is really funny because I had no thoughts of joining Magicmind, to be honest with you. When we got to hang out in person when I was visiting San Francisco, you had mentioned it to me, and I immediately in my head was like, sounds amazing, not attainable for me right now. Like, I'm not there in my business. This is not, something that I've been thinking about. And I was very much like afraid. And so time went on, and you were I was actually, and this is really funny too, I was sharing wins with you because I was listening to your podcast, and I kept messaging you because obviously we have turned into friends at this point. And I would message you like, oh my God, I listened to your podcast, I heard this thing and I applied this and I did this. Like, I was just sharing it with you, not really consciously thinking anything of it. And I know now, looking back, that was the universe's way of being like, bitch, you belong in here. Like, what are you doing? Like, there's no reason why you'd be sharing these specific downloads with Tiff if you didn't want to work with her, if you weren't ready. So that was kind of that. I wasn't really actively thinking about it. And then when you and I started chatting, and you're like, hey, you would be such a great fit for this. Let's chat. And again, immediately my reaction was like, I'm not ready. Like, to me, hopping into a mastermind, especially with you, someone who, like, to give everyone context, when I first started even diving into manifestation and mindset stuff, this was like right before the pandemic. And you and one other person were like the first kind of mindset manifestation podcast I was listening to. And you really inspired me to even start with my business. And I think intuitively, I knew, like, I have a very deep knowing. That's like my kind of gift. So I knew what I was doing of manifesting my dream life, but you were really putting it into words for me at that time. And also just being a woman of color. So anyway, that's the context. But the reason why I felt like, oh shit, can I swear on here?
Oh my God, have you heard me?
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even ask that. I knew that. Um, but I was literally like, shit, like I don't feel like I'm at that level because I felt a little bit stuck. But then I was like, well, maybe that's the perfect time then for me to join something
Yes.
like this, right? So when we had our conversation, I just knew, like it just clicked, and I was terrified because like to invest $10,000 into something and on top of it in Canadian, like our dollar sucks, so it's way more. And I was like, oh my God, this feels so scary. But I knew I was at a point in my business where I'm like, okay, I know I'm really good at what I do. I know that I have the heart for this. I have the personality. I have the mindset. I'm very skilled at social media management. I also used to be a teacher. That was my first career. And so I knew, like, okay, I want to be teaching. I want to be coaching. You talk a lot about coaching with BAA and just what you do. And I'm like, okay, I feel like now is the only time, like I need to do this now because I feel stuck. And I think that in and of itself was a pivotal moment for me, thinking like, okay, I don't necessarily have the funds just sitting there ready to go, but I'm just going to figure it out. Like, whatever, I'm going to dive in because I know I need this. And that, again, in and of itself was a big moment for me of like trusting myself and also doing scary things. Like, I've talked about jumping before you're ready so many times, and I've done it so many times, but I think to date, that was one of the biggest jumps that I've taken so far
Mm.
in my life. I mean, and also like I left a teaching career. So that was also a big jump, but I put this up there because that's a large investment. So to answer your question, that's why I felt pulled towards Magicmind because one, you've taught me so much through your free content. And two, I knew I was stuck and I knew that I needed to learn from someone who's where I want to be, you know?
Thank you so much for sharing. I love that. Like, let's just talk about investments and just those big risky moves in our business for a moment.
Yeah.
It's just Oh my God. I have so much to say about this. And I have made so many big, risky, not even just investments, but like big, scary moves in my business. And I'm sure you can attest to this as well. Every time you do it, it stretches you and it up levels you into another person. I've had students that have invested in working with me, and then immediately that next month, or even within that week, right, opportunities are opening up. They're having their biggest week ever. They're like celebrating these massive things. It's because when we choose to up level and we choose to essentially like show the universe that we're ready, the universe is like, oh shit, she's ready now. She's like making this big step, this big investment into herself. Like, we better get our ducks in the row. Like, we better, like you was, I call it shifting onto your highest timeline. I believe that we all have multiple timelines. If we make a certain decision, it opens up a whole other timeline. And we have a timeline where we are our highest, wealthiest, most abundant self. And that also keeps evolving as we evolve too, right? But when we invest and we just do something scary and we shift ourselves onto that timeline where we're like, okay, like shit's getting real now. I am showing up as this version of me that's like, I've never acted like this person before. You know, one of the first things I did when I started my business, even before I launched, was hire a business coach. And I like haven't gone a day without being plugged into a community, a program, a high level mastermind, which is what I love the most now, is like continuing in high level mentorship, masterminds, having long term relationships with my mentors, and really stepping into that energy of like, yeah, I desire to be here. I desire, not because I'm always like, yeah, there might be some things that I am needing support on, but also for the fucking vibes. Like being plugged into the energy of people who are on the same wavelength as you and are as committed and serious, and having like, you know, access to trainings, access to coaching, access to like all of that energy in a container together. How could it not up level you? How could it not make you show up in a different, as a different, higher, truer version of who you are?
Yeah. And to add to that, like when I think back on my life and all of the moments that I've up leveled, number one, I was always shitting my pants because if you're not scared, making a big enough move, number one. Number two, it always it was always me putting myself in a different environment and stepping into that next level version of myself. Like even when I think of like pretty much a year ago, a little over a year ago, I went on a solo trip to Arizona. And for context too, I'm from Canada. So I literally went to another country completely by myself. And at that time, I had lost all my clients, and not because anything went wrong, but I just had a lot of clients come in being like, hey, I want to work together for 6 months. I have some like funding through like, programs that I'm in, like, can I use it with you? And I'm like, yeah, amazing. However, in my mind, I was like, okay, well, these contracts are all going to end in January, but it's fine because I'll have, other contracts coming in. And I didn't. And it was because the universe was like, you need to focus on your podcast. You need to focus on programs, because I was limiting myself to
Mm.
social media management. And so literally, I'm not kidding. When I went to Arizona, I had like nothing. I had no money that was going to come in the following month. I was like, shit, well, I'm going, like, whatever. This is what the universe wants me to do. And it's crazy to see the photos from that trip, because the place that we stayed at, or that I stayed in, was this beautiful, like 2-bedroom apartment with a pool, hardwood floors, like just beautiful, super open space. And my boyfriend and I at the time were living in this like super cute, tiny 1-bedroom apartment. And I literally FaceTime him when I got there. I was like, this is going to be us. Like a year from now, like we are going to have a place like this. And I'm not kidding. Our current home, identical. And when I think about that, I'm like, literally, I just had to act as if I had to step into that version of me. And Magic Mind was the same thing. And also, when I went to Arizona, that's when I had time to launch my courses, which immediately when I came home, I launched them, I sold them out. I had my first two over 13K months. And I'm like, wow,
Oh,
like imagine I had stayed home and like played small and not done the scary thing. So, when I think about Magic Mind, I would say it's pretty up there for scary things, but I just knew, like, I had that same feeling of like, okay, I need to step into the next version of myself. Who better to do it with than someone who is making the Lulu amounts of money that I want to make? And also to be in a room with other women who are also, like you said, in that, vibe, in that way of thinking, right? Like that's why I had to do it.
yes. Oh my gosh. I love that. I love that. And I think that like sometimes, I'll see content like you have to invest because of specific strategies and you have to get XYZ out of your ROI. You can't just invest for the vibe. And it's like, but we see people like investing, they're getting to the same destination, but they're paying first class. Right? It's the experience, right? It's like you're going to watch the same game, but you're sitting in the front row seats, right? It's like we pay for the vibes. We pay because it's important. It's not just important. It's not just it is a fun experience, but it's also like we up level. We're like, ooh, this is the version of myself that I can be, right? Like this is the version of myself that I get to show up as, that I get to behave from. And then from that place, what else is possible? Oh my gosh, I hear one thing that my mentor says. I go on live, I connect with a one-on-one, high paying, like high ticket 5-figure client, right? It's like whatever allows you to step and stretch into that energy. And like masterminds are amazing for that. Mentorship is amazing for that because it plugs you in and it just allows you to be exposed to that on a daily basis, which is amazing. Yes. Okay. So I want to move into one of the first things that I coached you on when we got back from Oakland from the live event, which was like amazing. We'll have to talk about that as well.
Yeah.
But one of the main things that we were working on, and Taylor's given me consent to share this, is she's just launched IGA. Right. So that is now her main signature course. She's been a social media manager. She's created little courses, but this is a big signature course and something that she now wants to be known for in the season of her business, right? Like she's amazing at social media. She is an expert, right? Not just on the strategics, but also helping people with their mindset, how they're showing up, as the whole person. And so one of the biggest things that we worked on when we came back from the Magic Mind live event was that like the scariness of the charging the price that you want to charge for this course, right? Like, let's talk a little bit about that, right? Like, initially, you had wanted it to be at 333, which as soon as I heard that, I was like, that's an absolute no. Immediate no, like no from the sacral chakra. Um, and I was like, oh my gosh, like we need a coach on this, like immediately. And that's one of the great things about like working with a mentor too. It's like they can see and feel into things that for you, you're like, well, yeah, I guess this just makes sense. And you could have done it right. Like there's not necessarily a right or wrong in the way that I see business, right? We're always learning, we're always evolving. But when you're working with a mentor who sees like the value and the worth of your work and what is possible for you and already holds you at this state of like success and abundance and all of the beautiful things coming into your business, they can make and feel intuitively like, oh, wait, like this is what has to happen. And that was one of those like kind of gut, like visceral reactions where I was like, oh no, like that needs to be higher. And we coached on it in the Magic Mind live event and we brought it up from 333 to 3333. And then once kind of the energy of the live event settled down, Tayler had posted in Slack. We have a daily Slack channel and we have different channels, and that's where you get coaching in Magic Mind anyway. So one of the things she posted was, okay, I'm sitting with IGA being a 3333 investment and kind of second guessing myself. Should I price it at 2222? That might feel more aligned. I don't know. Maybe I can change the pricing later in a year. What are your thoughts, Tiffany? So do you want to walk us through a little bit about what was going on in your mind at the time, and then we'll share what's happened since then and what decision you made?
Oh my God. I'm literally listening to you say that. I'm like, wait, that was me. Are you sure? Like, are you sure?
I have
Because
receipts.
for years later, because damn, like, okay, that is crazy for me to hear. Although, like, I fully know, like, I remember my thought process, but it feels almost unrecognizable when you're reading that. It sounds like someone else because it really is. Like, it's crazy to think that when I came to the 3-day live event, I was literally going to charge 3 fucking 33 for this amazing offer that I have. And my thought process behind it was like, I was doing some market research and I was looking at other programs that other coaches had out there. And I was like, okay, I had just been part of like this really great mastermind class before we worked together, or not mastermind, sorry, master class about like social media. And the reason why I joined it is because I wanted to see how she was going to sell her offer at the end. Cause we all know like like if you're hosting a master class, you're selling something at the end. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I want to launch IGA. I'm going to do some market research, like look at all these women who are launching things and doing master classes. That's what I wanted to do. And her membership was $17.99 a month. And I was like, oh shit. Okay, I guess, damn, like that's really what the price is out here. And then I was looking at some other programs or whatever, and they were significantly lower than $3,000. So I was like, okay, well, who am I to like charge more? Like, what am I doing? Right. So when I came to the 3-day live event, I was very much like confident. I'm like, this is what I'm charging. This is higher than most memberships, like whatever. And immediately you're like, fuck no, we're not doing that. Um, and I'm so glad we did because holy shit, like as soon as I decided to change my 3-figure offer into a 4-figure offer, which is completely delulu, by the way. Like if you're from where I'm from in Canada, number one, that's delulu as fuck to even price something like that. But two, just again, doing that market research, at least from what I was seeing, crazy. But I've made more sales at the higher price point than I did at the lower one. And
Yes,
my thought
we
process
talked about
going
that.
into that, yeah, yeah. And it's crazy. But my thought process going into that was just very much like, okay, I'm going to wait until I have testimonials. I'm going to wait until I have XYZ. I'm going to wait. And I was like, wait, I don't need to wait. Like I've got testimonials. I've created results with my clients. I know I'm good at what I do. The proof is in the pudding. And also I know I'm a good ass teacher. Like if I can rally up 23 5-year-olds in a kindergarten classroom, you bet your ass I could teach adults. how to do social media. Right? So I knew, okay, I deserve to charge this much. And it was really hard. Like it was crazy to see, like, again, hearing you read that back, but then also to see more sales calls booked at the new price. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, am I dreaming? Like, pinch me because what the hell is happening? But I realized, and I actually realized this right before I changed the price too, because I had a girl message me and say, hey, like, I know you provide really good results, this, that, and the other, but like, how do I know I'm going to get good results if you're only charging, which by the way, before that, I had a sale on my 28th birthday to get in for $28. Don't ask me why. I don't even know. But she's like, how do I know I'm going to get results at $28? Like she was literally saying to me in other words, like, I don't believe this because it's too small of an investment. Like I don't feel good about it. So when I saw those sales calls coming through and then selling it, I was like, wow, it's really about like, number one, owning my offer and owning how I'm going to show up for my students, but also like that price point gives my students peace of mind knowing like, okay, I'm investing this much. I need to commit, number one, because that's not a small investment. And two, I'm going to get what I paid for. If you pay $28 to get into something, you're assuming you're going to get $28 worth of value, which wasn't the case, but that's the perception. So I don't even know if I fully answered your question, but that was kind of what happened with that.
Yes. Yeah, yes, 100%. And I think like one of the biggest things we coached on in Oakland was it's not because it's too you're it's not because people aren't buying because it's too high or that they don't want it. The price is actually too low, right? Like there is a point where sometimes like our prices like they speak and they hold certain messages, they hold certain frequencies. And it's not always about pricing it to, we can talk about like cost per like value per like investment. It's very dependent on the offer, right? Like one of the mentor that I just signed on for an entire year, she has a membership for $99 a month and she can totally charge way more for that. And the value that people are getting that I've already gotten from it is like astronomical, right? But it's just like a low ticket way to get into her world. Right. And like Taylor, with you, one of the things that I saw was like, this is going to change people's lives, right? You're teaching them sales, you're so much experience and shifting into that and into that energy. It wasn't just like, okay, just switch the price. It was like we coached on your identity as a coach, right? We coached on your identity as a business owner. We talked about the energetics and dropping into who you are, right? Because like this work is like, and I think sometimes one of the great things about working with a mentor is like your mentor sees you as the highest version of yourself, making like the most money, calling in all of the abundant aligned opportunities. And sometimes working with a mentor literally calibrates our energy to the way they see us. So for me, it was like immediately like, oh my gosh, like it needs to be up here. And I feel like when you're working with a mentor, you get to like borrow some of their belief, right? And it's safer to make decisions because it's almost like you're in a mastermind. It's almost like an insurance policy on your business, right? Like it's okay. Like you have something to, you have the support. If it doesn't work out the way you want, like let's try something else. Like it's okay. You have the support, you have the love, you have the container, right? So I'm okay. I have the Slack pulled up. I have the
Oh
Magic Mind
shit.
Slack pulled up. I am going to share some of what's happened since she lifted the price. So on October 16th, 2023, Tayler officially shifted the price on the sales page. October 19th, you sent a screenshot of someone wanting to book their first sales call on about IGA and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Wow, wow, wow." You said it's after announcing the new price of $33.33. That's just the beginning. And then on October 23rd, you said, "I have 3 sales calls booked before our next Magic Mind call tomorrow." And then said, like, "I'm going to catch up on everyone's messages. Good night. So excited." And then you had a sales call that morning. You set up a follow-up date. You just like sales calls started rolling in. October 25th, you said, "Oh my gosh, y'all, I'm freaking the fuck out. I just landed my first IGA sale at the new price, screaming, crying, throwing up."
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then you were like, "Holy shit, I don't even know what to do with myself, LOL."
Oh my God. When you say it like that, also, I just have to say, I love that you're pulling up these receipts on me because I think I forgot some of it, truly. But it's
Yeah.
crazy to hear that timeline. And what's crazier is like, I think in the moment, it did feel fast with them rolling in, but it also at the same time felt really long. But hearing it, I'm like, oh my God, bitch, calm down. Like, like I thought it was taking so long, but it wasn't. That's fast.
Yes, yes. And then you also mentioned like you had jumped on a sales call and you were talking kind of back and forth with someone and then you were just sharing like I'm learning to sell in a different way. I'm really proud of the way I'm showing up. Like this is not necessarily what I would have done in the past before joining Magicmind. Just the ways that you were talking about things on your stories, having conversations with potential clients, right? Like I could tell that your energy was starting to shift and I knew if your course was going to be at 333, it would over time because it was not aligned to the value they're getting, everything you're pouring into it, it would have been such a disservice to them and to you. You would have started feeling drained. They would not maybe not show up like as big as they did. And I feel like when you did, it was just like it was so powerful. One of the things that you did on one of the calls that you mentioned was, they were like, "Oh, I have to go and talk to my partner." And this is something we actually coached on inside Magic Mind is like, we can't control the conversation, like we can't control how their partner might respond, but we can essentially set them up for success so that they go into the conversation instead of like, "Oh, hi, there's really something I want to invest in. And I know we don't really have, wasn't really in the budget," but like versus like, "Hey, babe, this is something I'm committed to. I'm in. Like, can we figure out a way to make this work? Like, I found this and this is what I want to do. And here's how I'm going to work within it, blah, 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 blah." Like the confidence, the energy, we're able to help navigate that with clients, right? And so one of the things you said was, "I use tip suggestions." I asked her, like, "Would it be helpful if we reviewed your key reasons before why you want to join IGA before you talk to your hubby so you feel confident having that conversation?" She said yes, right? And it was like just those tiny tweaks, those little energetic shifts are so powerful. And then October 31st, this is all within October, y'all, by the way. October, you said, "Oh my gosh, celebrating another student joining IGA, and she's joining at the payment plan." And then you said, "I'm honestly so shook. It feels like it's happening so fast." And then that student responded saying, like, I've been seeing a 555 everywhere. Like, this is amazing." Um, and
Yeah.
then you made your third sale on November 1st, right? And that was like a day that's a couple things had happened. Like your close friend got into a car accident. Like, there's a couple of things like feeling really heavy, right? And you didn't even work because your car had broken down. And yeah, and anyway, and then so you were saying like, I made my sale while all of this was still going on. And what I always like to say is like, you don't have to be high vibe, excited, happy necessarily to sell. You just have to be really convicted and aligned in your offer and in what you're selling and serving your clients and who you are as a coach. That is the frequency of sales energetics.
Yes. I hope y'all are taking notes because there's like, these were such big shifts for me. And it happened because, well, it happened for many reasons, but a lot of the things that we coached on, like Tiff is spilling some beans right now. So I hope y'all are taking notes.
Yeah, yes. And then, yeah, just to share some more of the wins, and this is like after November 15th, you said, "I had an amazing IGA call. My students are seeing results, landing crazy brand deals, reels like going viral, photographers selling out their Christmas minis." And then you said, like, "I've always cared about my students' success, but since being in Magic Mind, I've really been working on improving as a coach, figuring out how I can go the extra mile to support my students. And me being a better coach means them seeing crazier results. And then yeah, you said thank you, Tiffany, for challenging me to look at things differently. And then at that point you were celebrating like 5 IGA sales calls. I think you had like multiple people already in. And then like the week later you celebrated another call or another sale. And at that point I think it was like a 13K sales month or something crazy like that.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. It's crazy. Like I know all of this, but to hear you say it that way, I can kind of understand now why you were reacting the way you were reacting when I would tell you these things. Cause you're like, damn, like, this is really happening. But to me, it was like, well, I'm putting in work. I couldn't really see it. But now looking back, it's really cool.
Yes. Yeah. So, from your perspective, what are some things that you had done, whether it's like specific strategies that you implemented? What are specific shifts that you actively remember moving throughout this time frame? Or if someone's like listening and they're also wanting to pivot into whether it's raising their prices or launching a new course or launching a new offer, what do you feel like were some of the biggest things that were the most supportive for you during this time?
There's so many things. I think, and this could be a whole episode in and of itself. I won't get super deep into it, but honestly, one of those pivotal moments was that meditation that we did at the 3-day live event where we all like met our highest selves, and mine was loving abundance. And literally, it's crazy because when I saw her, which is me, she literally had like dark, long, healthy hair. I literally have dark hair now, which is crazy. I dyed
Oh
it. It
my
was blonde.
gosh.
But like seeing that, like that moment reminded me like, number one, that highest version of me is me. Like it's not some unattainable person who is so outside of myself. Like it's
Yes.
me. But it also made me realize where there were gaps and where I wasn't showing up as her and where I wasn't moving like her and where I was like holding myself back from being that version of her, even including little things that might seem non-business related, like showing up for myself and exercising. So like for me, I've been in some car accidents, had some dance injuries, and my body just really feels good when I'm moving more. And obviously, with being a social media manager and coach, I work from home. So, like, I sit a lot, right? So, even then, I was like, okay, I need to get a standing desk because loving abundance, that highest version of me, she'd have a fucking standing desk in her office. Her office would look cute. She would make time for the gym because it makes her feel good, like all those little things. So, that was definitely a big shift for me of just realizing, like, that version of me is me, but also I can do a little bit more to show up as her, and nothing like that required a shit ton of work. It was just like little shifts that I knew would make a big difference. So that was like a big moment for me. I think another thing for sure was like like being willing to have sales calls and also being willing to think and really dive deep and like kind of I don't know, kind of let my ego take a hit and ask myself, like, what have I not said yet? Like, that's something I remember you saying a lot in the live event, in the coaching calls. Like, there's always something we haven't said, right? It's not that my offer is bad. It's not that I'm literally so good at marketing, but what have I not said that would make my like ideal student say yes? What would make them feel a full body fuck yes? I know what it was for me with you, but prior to a few things that you said on that sales call that I had with you before I joined Magicmind, it was not a full body yes. I was shitting my pants, but you said something, right? Like you did something, you said something. So why would that be any different for me? I think that was another big shift of like knowing,
Mm,
oh, there's just things I haven't said yet, but also looking at it from like, this can be fun. It's not like, oh, there's things I haven't said, so I'm shitty because I haven't thought of it. It's like exciting, like, oh, how can I say this in a more exciting way? And that's another
yeah,
thing that I've really been learning in here too, is like business is trial and error. It just is. And like, it's not to feel bad about it. It's just to get like curious and excited. Like that's something that you really taught me is like, yeah, don't be hard on yourself. Like just look at it and say like, okay, what can I do? What else can I do? What haven't I said? So that
it's
was
an
also,
experiment. Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And I
So good.
another thing too is just like really like owning my pricing. Even something that I haven't even talked about on socials yet is that I raised my prices for social media management because I still do have those clients, and like all of them were perfectly okay with it. They were all like yeah, I'm seeing results. Like, why not? And I'm like, oh my God, here I was like not raising my prices, thinking like, oh, what if they walk or like whatever. They didn't. They were literally like, yeah, it makes sense. Cool. So just owning my skill set, owning who I am as a coach, owning who I am as a service provider, and knowing like I can charge my worth and I don't need to do market research because fuck what other people are pricing, Like there's offers out there that range from $10 to $10,000. And like, why am I going to base it off of other people?
Yes, yeah. And that's one of the things we focus on in Magic Mind is that spirit of your business, the relationship to your business, relationship to specific offers. Because it's not so much like what is the market rate, what is the average price on this? It's more so like, what does this offer feel aligned at? Right? It could be a course that, like, I mean, when I launched BAA, there was no courses out there that was like even over like the 3K price point. I charged 55.55 and it's still at 55.55. I still have never seen another course like an online I would have been like people would have looked at that and been like that's insanity, right? But I was like no, this is the price that it's at. This is the price it told me it was at, right? That's the beauty of having a relationship with your highest self, truest identity like Tayler mentioned, and then also having that relationship with the spirit of your offer. So that way it's not like, let me look around and see what other people are doing and then make decisions based off of that. It's like, no, what feels good in my body? What is my intuition and my soul led wisdom and guidance saying to me? So that way you're always in your own lane. You're always doing what feels most aligned to you as the business owner versus making decisions based off of logic, right? Like there is that very aligned spiritual component there that I think is such an edge, that Magic Mind really draws in to each of with each of our students. Like that's something that's so important. Um, yeah, okay. I would love to talk about the 2 weeks of rest that you took in December at the end of last year. So, Tayler, we decided after some coaching and after some ways of working that, were becoming a little bit unsustainable, that 2 weeks off of her business would be an amazing, amazing thing for both her and for her clients. One of the things I focus on inside, not just Magic Mind, but all of my work, but Magic Mind is the highest way of working with me. So that's really where it comes through is business as the whole woman, right? It's not just compartmentalizing. It's not just like, here's my business self and then here's my human self. It's like, no, your business, your life, like all of it's intertwined. How you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So like love life and relationships and family and like all the things that, that make us a whole human, that gets to be shared and that gets to be celebrated in this container and that all works within one another, right? So yeah, and then there were some amazing things that happened through that time of rest, which were so aligned that you never could have even asked for that you're now planning on that are coming up this year. So yeah, tell us a little bit about that decision to rest and why that was beneficial. Like how did that go for you? And yeah, tell us all the things.
Yeah. Okay. First and foremost, I just want to say, because something came through for me as you were explaining that.
Yeah.
I remember specifically like during that break, like before I joined Magic Mind, I was very much like, oh, like I'm joining this for the business stuff, like the money stuff. Like I'm good on mindset. Like I know what I'm doing. Like I'm good. Like I'm chilling. And then I realized, oh shit, I'm not good. Okay. Not that I'm not good, but like, I think I heard this on your podcast recently where you were talking about like, you don't just go to the gym and do a bicep curl and say, okay, I lifted this heavy weight and now I'm strong forever and I'm done, right? Like
Yeah,
that's what I had in my head. I'm like, oh, like I'm good with mindset. I don't need it, but I did need it. And that's something I
we all
really,
do.
really, yeah, like I truly realized that during my time off. And I specifically remember, so I was burnt the fuck out. I was on a hamster wheel that I felt like I couldn't get off. I had sales calls rolling in and sales rolling in, but I was tired and I had zero boundaries because prior to the 3-day live event, I was not doing sales calls at all. I would only do sales calls if it was going to be like my $2,000 to $2,500 a month social media management clients. So for IGA, I was like, well, I don't really need to do a sales call. Like I should be able to sell it through my marketing and whatever. And plus, I had never done sales calls for my other two programs that I launched. However, obviously they were a smaller ticket. They were 333 and 444 for my other one. So smaller, but I just didn't realize that I needed to do sales calls. So prior to me taking that time off, I was taking sales calls at whatever time, whatever day, Sundays at fucking 8 p.m. I don't know why I was doing that. I think I just really wanted it to work, and I really wanted to make sales, and I really wanted to put in the work and make it happen. But in doing that, I was totally stepping all over my own boundaries, my own capacity. Again, I was on this hamster wheel. And so, yeah, I was seeing results, but at what cost, right? And so I was like, wait a minute. I had to step back and be like, okay, I literally started a business so that I could live my life more fully, so that I could be more present, so that I can teach my students to do the same thing and use social media as a tool to get there. Why am I burning myself out? What the fuck am I doing? So at that point, I was like, okay, I need to evaluate how this is working, and this is just not sustainable for me. And so I was really scared, but I was like, I need time to just also like process the fact that I'm in Magic Mind, process that freaking travel days that I had to get there and get home. Like I was on 3 flights there, 3 flights home. I came home. I immediately like let go of a lot of my team members because I had that whole revelation. I hit the ground running with IGA, did this big campaign. Like I just didn't stop. And so I was like, okay, I need to slow down. And to your point, I really believe that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So I'm like, why am I in this like, I don't want to say desperate energy, but like hustly energy, like this is not who I am. So I decided, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take some time off, and I'm going to do the scary thing. I'm going to email all my clients and all my students and hand things off to my assistant. And that was so scary, but I was like, I need this. And at that time, I hadn't even finished uploading the modules to IGA, but I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to finish them before my holiday, and I'm just going to take time off. And I realized too, with that guided meditation, or was it a visualization meditation? What was it, Tiff, in
Yeah,
Oakland?
yeah, it was just like a visualization meditation. That's what I would call it. Yeah, I guess I don't really think about like a name for it. It's like you're almost like in a trance, like, right? Like you're just like visualizing and like meeting your truest identity, your truest self.
Yes. So, yeah. So during that meditation is when I realized, like, oh, like I said, there was some gaps there. So, like, how can I show up? But I also realized after, I was like, oh, there's parts of me that I'm actually neglecting. Like, I'm so multifaceted. I have, like, so much worth outside of my business, but I'm making my business and IGA mean everything about me. So I was like, I need to take some time and think about who I am outside of my business. So, sent the emails, put on the autoresponder. It felt so it felt so wrong. I was like, what do I do with myself? And that's something we even coached on too, of like, okay, you were like, let me be real with you. And I remember on the coaching call, I think it was like the day before or 2 days before I was gonna take my holiday. And I was like, guys, like I have this amazing list of things I'm gonna do on my time off. And you're like, why do you have a to-do list for your time off? Like, what are you doing? I mean,
Oh
like,
my
you
God.
could say it to me like that, but you were kind of making a face. Like, I could tell you were trying to be like nice about it, but you were like, what the fuck, Taylor? Um, and so that was the moment I was like, oh my God, I'm turning my holiday into a project. Like, so I literally ripped up that to-do list. Like I physically wrote it down. I ripped it up. I was like, okay, I'm going to really take time. And you had said like, okay, it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel wrong. You might not even reach that relaxed state that you're hoping for, but this is the first step. So I'm like, okay. So I think that helped me release some pressure too. And it helped me like not have a to-do list of 500 things I was going to do, in my time off. Truly, this sounds so dramatic, but I am a literal different person. After the 2-week break, like I did a whole lot of nothing. I read books. I read fantasy books. They weren't even self-help or business books. I was reading Fourth Wing, which is amazing, by the way, if y'all have not read that. And I just spent time with my closest friends who ground me, people who have known me before I started my business, people who like, as much as they love my business and they care about it, my business is honestly the least interesting thing about me to them because they just know me for me, and spending time with family and like just doing cute like holiday activities because it was during like the holidays, Christmas time. And holy shit, like I did not know how bad I needed that. And I didn't realize how badly I was neglecting those parts of me, and why I was feeling so off and why I was feeling almost unfulfilled is because like I forgot what it felt like to just read a fucking book. That's not for the purpose of like growing my business. Like it was just literally, I want to read this fantasy book. I want to like get lost in something that's not a screen. God, because I'm just either on my laptop or my phone or watching Netflix. Like I wanted to get lost in a book. I love a good book. I wanted to just be, and again, spend time with people who ground me and just remind myself who the fuck I am outside of my business, you know? And the craziest shit ever about that is right before I took the break. So like I literally announced like I'm logging off, and I even announced it on Instagram. Not that I felt like I owed anyone anything, but just to say like, hey, I'm taking a break. Like I'm gonna peace
Mhm.
out for a bit. Literally, I mean, you probably have the receipts to pull them up because I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly, but literally moments after I decided to take a break and I announced it, I literally my client, and I've announced this now so I can like spill the tea, but she got invited to be, she's a jewelry designer, and she got invited to be a designer at New York fucking Fashion Week. And she asked me
Crazy.
to come with her as her social media manager and content creator, all expenses paid. What the fuck? What? So she asked me to do that right after I decided
Oh my
to
gosh.
take. And then moments after that, and I say moments because I don't know the exact timeline, you probably have it, but after that, I got asked to be a keynote speaker at an International Women's Day event here in Winnipeg. I'm getting paid for this like opportunity, which I could have never imagined, or I mean, I could imagine it, but I wasn't actively manifesting this. I didn't like
Yeah.
write down, oh, I want to New York Fashion Week. Oh, I want to be a keynote speaker, right? Like these are just things that came through. And then the third thing is that my other client, who is a personal chef, he got an opportunity to do something really special here in Winnipeg with the Winnipeg Jets, which is our hockey team, NHL. Um, and he asked my team and I to take content because he's, you know, we're his social media team. And I'm like, holy shit. So the timeline for all of this, New York, I'm leaving on February 6th. We're there for an entire week. I come back, and days later, I do the Jets game with our chef client. And then March 8th is my keynote. And this all poured in as soon as I decided to rest. What?
Yes. So
Like,
good. And it's such a true testament that, like, because we talk about the energetics, we talk about, receiving and allowing. And sometimes when we're like hunched over the laptop, in that energy of like, I just got to get this done, just like do, do, do. I mean, I think we both know as like, daughters of immigrants, women of color, just like having that in our bloodline, in our lineage of seeing our parents work really hard and essentially like be in places where like sometimes it's just an energy of scarcity, right? And so when we allow ourselves to actually rest, we open ourselves to receive. And we get to be this alignment. It's like sometimes in a launch, we're like waiting all day for sales. And then as soon as we go to sleep, we wake up and like someone bought or someone submitted an application because you're actually able, the only time you're able to actually rest and receive is when you're sleeping, right? So it's like incorporating more of that rest into our regular ways of working and seeing it as a integral part of running a business because our energy, like we are our greatest asset as business owners, as owners of personal brands. Like we have to take care of ourselves, so just seeing that happen so quickly for you is amazing. And Taylor, I have to say, like, and I've worked with so many students, and I work with like such amazing, amazing students. And, sometimes we have an idea for something, or we know we want to do something in our business, and we kind of play with it. We kind of sit with it. But like I've seen you have this idea, you get coached on something by me and you're like done. It's done by like the end of the day. So I just have to commend you for your ability to take big action and be brave and be courageous. Because I truly think the most successful entrepreneurs are the ones that are able to collapse time between the time they need to do something and the time they actually do it, right? How long do we sit on something and wait? And there's times for that. There's times where you need to make like a, calculated decision and maybe make a little bit more time. But most of the time, it's like, you can make that in an instant. You're just kind of waiting and you're just kind of sitting on it and kind of marinating. So for you, I've seen you take some incredible action when you feel pulled to something, when you get coached on something, when something lands for you, you go and get it. And I think that also contributes to your success and your you just everything you've created in these past couple months. So I just have to share that with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Honestly, like I really appreciate that. And that's something that I'm really proud of that I'm able to do. And I think this also ties back to my human design of being a manifesting generator. Like I see something and I act on it like yesterday, and I think like so I think there is a good amount of pressure for me being in this container because I'm like, bitch, like you're in here, like be resourceful and do the shit. Like don't say you're gonna
Yeah.
do it. Like I have access to you for coaching. I have access to the community. So like fucking use it. And I want to bring up
Yes.
something that you said that was a really big revelation for me as well of like um me taking a 2 week break. I'm absolutely gonna take holidays again. I'm gonna take a 2 week break again, but I'm not going to do it because I have to, otherwise I'm going to die. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to have to take a break because I'm so burnt out. Like what you said about infusing that into our everyday lives as entrepreneurs, I realize how incredibly important that is. And oh my God, as I'm saying this, it's 4:44 here, which
Of
is crazy.
course.
Like I just realized like, oh, I can like read my book all week long. I can set aside, 10 minutes at night or whatever during the day. I can take a hot girl walk. I can like do the things that I did during that 2 week break and infuse it into my life and prioritize it and like take weekends off and have a no social media day, not necessarily an entire 2 week hiatus, but like don't go on Instagram on Saturday, like I can implement those things. And that's something really important that I learned throughout this process that you just mentioned. And also something that you really like helped me realize too. I remember when I shared these wins, I was like, oh, all I have to do is rest and I'm just going to have things flow in. And you're like, yes, but also you were like, I don't want you to equate rest with like say like productivity or like sales coming through. Like, yes, of course that's going to happen, but sometimes it's not. And sometimes you need to rest just to rest because you deserve it and because
Yeah.
that is an important part of you continuing to move forward. So I wanted to mention that too because that is something that I like wasn't realizing right away. And I think had that not been brought to my attention, I might have been like, okay, I'm going to take a power nap for 20 minutes. And because I did that, I'm going to open my email. There's going to be a sale and then there wouldn't be, and I'd like lose my shit. So I'm glad that you also brought that to my attention too. And I think it's important to note.
Yes, like that nap was just wasted time. Yeah, it's absolutely. And everything that you've shared, like I really want the audience to pick up on, like this is the power of mentorship. I've been mentored since before I started my business. I just signed on for another year. I've This is like the true testament because it's like even Taylor said like, "Oh, I feel like I'm pretty good on my mindset. I might not really need support on this or I feel like I'm pretty good." And sure, there might be specific times where you feel aligned to, going at it out on your own. But like for me personally, like I see myself in some container working in a high level way as long as I have a business, right? And it's like, can Taylor have 100% gotten to these results and breakthroughs on her own? I have no doubt. But being in a container that is essentially like a mirror, she's taking action so much faster, would you say, than you would on your own?
Yeah. And I think what's interesting about that too is like, I had a moment and we talked about this too, where I was almost like forgetting that at the end of the day, like I know what's best for me. I think this program has been a really good, like you said, mirror because for a moment, I almost was like asking your permission for things like, should I do this? Or like, oh, I'm like, I don't know, like, what do you think? And
Oh,
now
I
I'm very
called you
much,
out on that. Yes, I remember
yeah,
that.
because you're like, don't use my coaching against you pretty much. And I had to realize like, oh shit, yeah, I do know what I'm doing. That's why I'm in here. Like you probably wouldn't have let me in here if I didn't know what the fuck I was doing at all. So like I had to remind myself like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make decisions, I'm gonna put together offers, I'm gonna decide on things, and then I can get you to review it. I can ask you for things that's coming up for me. I can coach myself first and then have you step in and help me point out things that maybe I'm not seeing. Cause like, it's just like when I was a teacher, I would always tell my kids, like when I taught grade 8, like, okay, you're going to write this paper, but you're not going to notice the spelling errors and the typos and whatever, because you've been looking at it all day. So put it away till tomorrow and have a peer just review it. Cause like your friend is going to see that you spelled XYZ wrong, but you might not see it because you've just been looking at it for so long. And that's like, for me has been one of the most valuable things of like, okay, I know I'm great at what I'm doing, but what's like a fresh set of eyes gonna do for me? And from someone who like is, making, again, like I said, delulu amounts of money, like what can you see that maybe I missed? Right. And that's like another valuable thing of like, oh yeah, I do know what I'm doing, but the extra set of eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. As we advance and ascend in our businesses, it's not so much going to be issues and problems and struggles. Sometimes we do invest for those reasons. Like when I was just starting my business, I was like, help me. I have no idea what I'm doing. Right. But now when I invest, it's like, there's not really necessarily something's going wrong. Things are going really, really well. And I just dropped 5 figures on mentorship because I want things to be sustained and not just that. I want them to continue expanding, right? So, what I'd love for everyone, there's so many gold nuggets in this episode. One thing I'd really love for you all to take away in regards to mentorship is you can see in the story that we've shared with Tayler, it's not just we started with like IGA. It wasn't just the price increase, it was the identity shift. And then it was like sustaining that. And then it was learning showing up on sales calls. And then it was learning specific strategies for sales calls, such as talking to your partner, equipping them with the confidence. And then it was resting and boundaries within working and then having sales calls at all different types of hours and then creating a schedule for that, right? And then it was, learning to rest and really integrating rest. And then it was, realizing that I'm not just resting for the sake of equating to sales immediately. And then it was learning to open and receive aligned opportunities. And then it's like different strategies. And now we just did a year like planning call where maybe we can find different ways of expanding like continuity offers and different ways of serving her students and creating even more revenue in 2024, right? Like Delulu amounts of revenue for all of us, right? Like literally. And so I want you listening to see how it's not just like, okay, just like one thing done, like checked it off the list. Like it's when you're agreeing and committed to mentorship, it's like you're constantly having someone like point out blind spots. You're constantly having someone to go to. And sometimes like I'll think of a question that I want to get coached on. And just being in the container, I'm like, I can already kind of sense and intuitively feel what my coach would say to me. And then I'd be like, oh, okay, good. I'm good. I don't even need to ask the question, right? Like you get to a point where you're just kind of like, you feel into it and you're like, oh, okay, this makes sense to me, right? And then, of course, when you do have questions, when you do want support, when you do want review and feedback, that's there for you to utilize at any time, right? And so, yeah, I love it. I love it so much. Is there anything else that you really want to share with the audience that you feel like would be useful in terms of like, maybe someone's on the fence of joining Magic Mind or entering my world in some way? Like, what are some things that you would share from your perspective?
Yeah, I would definitely say like for me, if I'm expecting my students to invest in me as their coach, I should also be investing in myself to show up as the best coach. And in being in Magic Mind, I have really learned like, oh, this like so many ways that I can show up for my students, so many ways that I can offer support, even like some of the language that you've used. Like, I'm like, oh, I really like that. And I like how it feels. I like the delivery. So I've been able to not only learn things for my business and my income and like, being able to say like, holy shit, I hit six figures in 2023. Okay, I want to go for multiple six figures in 2024. Like that's all obviously amazing. But like what's been like valuable for me as well is learning how to coach. I mean, I know how to coach, but like learning other things. And also like I haven't hosted a 5-figure investment coaching container yet. And I want to one day. And so being in one
Yes.
really helped me see like, oh, this is what Slack looks like. This is how it's structured. This is how Tiff like talks me off the fucking ledge when I'm losing my shit, like all these little things that really help me in terms of seeing the bigger picture and one day like having my own mastermind at some point, so
Yes.
that's like a big thing. And yeah, just again, like being in that energy of like, if you're expecting people to do something for you, you should also be doing it, not to say that like you need to be investing all of your money and not keeping any of it, but like work on yourself, work on your business, put in the work and take what you're learning and bring it to your students. Like I for sure have brought tactics with like sales calls and like I'll even remind my students like, hey, there's something you haven't said. And I don't know that I would have said that if I wasn't in this container. Like there's little things and nuggets that I've even brought to my students that make me a better coach. So if you're hesitant, just ask yourself, like, would my highest version of me do this? And also what am I expecting people to invest in me? And am I also in that same energy? So yeah, I
Mm.
think that would be the final thing I want to say on that. I mean, there's a million things I could say, but for now, so that this isn't 6 hours.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I absolutely agree. I think that's one of the most important things that I've invested in that I've seen the growth. I've seen not just like the ROI in terms of like actual dollars, but energetically who I am, right? It's like you're the sum of the 6 people that you hang around with the most. Like, hello, a high level mastermind, right? Like being in conversation with people and having the coaching, having the support, watching people celebrate wins, right? Watching people navigate things, and then have their own breakthroughs. And even someone else gets coaching on something that you're like, I'm not going to raise my hand today. I don't really have anything. Someone brings something up and you're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly the thing that I need right now. You take that idea, you run with it, you go on live, you make a story post, you make a brave offer, and that could be like 5 figures right there, right? So it's like, how does that keep compounding when you are in an energetic container that just never stops giving, right? It's like the gift that never stops giving. So yes, 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 yes. I absolutely love it. Yeah, all right. So yeah, the last thing that I would love to share is do you know how much like IGA's created or how much you've created in your business since joining Magicmind? Like an estimated amount?
Shit, I probably should have come prepared with that. I will get back to
No,
you and
you're
maybe
good.
put it in the show notes, but I do know that since joining, like before I was okay, I can't give you the exact dollar amount, but before I joined Magicmind, literally all of my money was going towards business expenses and my team. And like I was not keeping pretty much anything. So I can't even imagine, like, even if I had made the same amount that I made back in October now, I'd still be making more because I'm keeping more technically.
Yeah.
But I do know that I'm making over 8K a month now consistently for the last couple of months, and it's felt fucking
Yes.
easy. So yeah, yeah. And I mean, like,
Amazing.
if I can make, if I can pass six figures in 2023 while on the struggle bus and hustling, like I can only imagine what 2024 is going to be like. Like the
Oh
numbers are
my
adding
God.
up. They're fucking good.
I can't wait. Yes, I'm so, so excited. Yay. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being on this episode and sharing your stories and your breakthroughs and your wins. For everyone who is interested in learning more about you and connecting with you and learning about IGA, tell us all the things. How can we find you?
Yes. Okay. So you can hang out with me on Instagram at Taylor Francisco. That's at TaylerFrancisco on Instagram. You can also check out the Tiny Moments podcast. I'm relaunching that soon and I'm so excited. And you can also hit me up on melrosemarketingstudio.com. You can check out IGA, which again is my program where I teach my students how to sell out their offers on Instagram. And yeah, just come hang out with me. I would also love if you listen to this to like send us a message. I would love to hear what your
Yes.
takeaways were. Literally, I'm going to go back and listen to this for myself. So I'd love to hear what you took out of it. But yeah, come hang out with me on Instagram.
Amazing. And I'll have all of those links linked in the show notes for you below. So you can check out Taylor's Instagram. You can check out Melrose Marketing Studio. You can check out all of the things IGA. So go and tag us both. If you got something out of this, you got nuggets out of this, tag both Tayler and I, share it on your stories. Like, let us know what you thought. What are you shifting? What brave action are you going to take after this? Would love to have you. And yeah, and then also Magicmind, as I shared in the intro, is also open in February. So doors are opening February 12th to the 23rd to join us for the May 2024 round. So if you are a coach, you're a soul-led service provider, you're serious about six figures, multi-six figures this year, this is the container to be in. This is the launch, the round for 2024. This is the best and highest way of working with me right now. So if you're seeking that support, you're seeking that mentorship, and also being in a sisterhood with an incredible group of other women entrepreneurs, that the conversations at this table hit different, talking about money, talking about coaching, talking about leadership, talking about life. If that's something that you want to get plugged into for 6 whole months to literally change the trajectory of your business, this is the room to be in. So you can DM me to apply early, save your spots. You can DM me, we can talk more about that and any questions that you might have. And doors open officially on February 12th. So make sure you mark your calendar for that. And the wait list for that will also be in the show notes as well. All right, Tayler, thank you so, so much for being on this episode. Everyone else, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. If this episode resonated with you, please take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at tiffanychung.co. I truly appreciate interacting with every one of you. Catch you all on the next one.